Hello and welcome back. My name is India and I happen to read a lot. And today we're doing the mid-year book freakout tag where I realise we're halfway through the year and I freak the fuck out about it. So for those of you who don't know, the mid-year book freakout tag is a tag that's been going around for forever. I was doing the tag on my blog, I think since about 2020, 2019. So it's been around for a really long time. It's basically allowing readers to check in on the reading that they've done in the first half of the year and kind of picture what they want from the second half of the year. And it's very, very weird that right now as I film this, it's like the 11th of June. It's the 11th of June when I film this, and it's very weird to think that we're halfway through June. The mid-year book freakout tag for me is my favourite tag of anything ever. I love doing it. I also stupidly love comparing myself to the year prior, just because I guess I hate myself. That might be why. I know for a fact that this year, in terms of reading, has been a lot slower than I've done for the last couple of years. So I know I'm going to look at the stats from last year and be weirdly disappointed in myself because I don't know why I feel like I'm in competition with my past self, but weirdly I feel like I am. So I am going to be a little bit disappointed with the numbers. But apart from that, it's all good. So let's dive in. We're going to talk about my favourite books so far this year, my least favourite, how well I'm doing on my challenges. It's going to be good. Stay tuned. We'll see. So first up, a reminder of my challenges. So I have 3 challenges plus a little extra thing to be aware of, as I like to say. So first and foremost, my reading challenge. So I set myself the goal of this year of reading 75 books in honour of kind of slowing down my reading and really taking my time with the books and really factoring in what it is that I've read, rather than flying through as many as I can and then thinking back in the year and being like, I don't personally, and this is only a personal thing, I don't personally remember a lot of these books. I want to be able to take some time. And also, I wanted to dedicate a lot of my time to reading books that are slower paced or of a higher page count. So I feel like if I had the shadow of an 100-page book challenge, I'd probably freak out weirdly. So I decided to set myself the goal of 75 books. I have a sequel challenge where I have to read 12 books from ongoing series, kind of aiming for one a month. And I have a physical TBR challenge where I have to read 40 books from my physical TBR. Alongside that, as I've already mentioned, there was a focus for me this year on reading books that would slow me down. So I wanted to get more into non-fiction. I wanted to read some really chunky, epic fantasy, and I wanted to go back and read some classic murder mysteries. Overall, I've done fine. I probably would say the one that I've done the least well on that is classic murder mysteries. I haven't read many classic murder mysteries. I've read murder mysteries, just not many classic. Fantasy-wise, I'm doing very well. I could do better, but I'm doing well. And then non-fiction is hit or miss. Some months I read some months I don't. But it's good to have that focus in the back of my mind. It's more of a focus, not really a challenge. So starting off with the Goodreads reading challenge, 75 books. I was like, 75 books is going to be a breeze. And to be honest with you, it's 100%. I think I'm going to be done on 75 books in about September time at the current pace that I'm going. It's definitely a number that I know I'm going to smash. In regards to what I've read so far though, as of this point, I have read 53 books. I'm currently on my 54th book. I've read 53. I am very, very happy with 53. It feels good to be on track. It feels good to be actually above on track. And the 53 books overall, I've read some really great books. I've read some not so great books, but 53 is a great number. That being said, when you fucking compare it to last year, I don't know what the hell I was on. I don't think I clearly was not seeing any friends, was literally doing nothing, because last year I read 82 books. I published that in June 17th of last year. That's only a week out from the time I'm recording this. 82 books. There's me going, 53 is good. 53 is great. 82? 82. How the fuck did I manage that? Jesus. The only thing that I'm thinking is I definitely think I'm spending more time doing other things. I'm gaming a lot more. I'm obviously doing YouTube and editing. So all the time that I would spend reading is now being filming and editing and playing games. Obviously, I literally just bought the Nintendo Switch 2. There's a vlog if you want to see me unbox that. So I think because of that, my priorities of what I'm doing have shifted. I'm a very fast reader anyway, but my priorities of like just focusing and reading have kind of changed. 53 is amazing. I'm just surprised that I read 82 last year. Moving on for the sequels. So for the sequels, I've actually completed it. I've completed the challenge. I read 12 books. If you look at my bullet journal that I have, which is half completed, here we go. All there for you. Dun, dun, dun. The last book I read was the end of May, which was Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon Maguire, which was a 5-star read. Challenge done. She's done, she's sorted, she's dusted. Any sequels I read now, obviously, are just ideal, but I've completed that challenge. Don't need to worry about it. Then moving on to my physical TBR. So I reduced as well. Yeah, so last year I chose to read 50 from my physical TBR. Because I reduced my overall reading goal, I reduced also the TBR books that I wanted to read. So this year I challenged myself to read 40, and that is going very well. I am over halfway through. I have read 26 books on my physical TBR, which is amazing. And I'm also, I don't want to jinx it, I'm not adding as many books this year as I thought I would. Last year or the year before, I had to buy so many series because the series were changing covers or they were discontinuing. This year, not really that much. Definitely have not been spending that much money on books at all, which is very, very good. I have received some amazing books from the publisher, which I'm super excited to read. But definitely, like with everything, this year my goal was to slow everything down, and I do think I am managing that. I'm really taking my time, which was the goal, because I was burning out a little bit last year. I'm feeling in a very much a better position this year. I'm not feeling burnt out with my reading at all, which is good. But if you want to see what that looks like, this is currently where I'm at. My most recent book for my physical TBR was just a couple of days ago when I read Sweat and Soap Volume 4 by Kontetsu Yamada. I still have way too many physical TBR books. Like, it's really, really bad. I posted my wheel generator because I've started using a wheel to generate some of my TBR choices, just because I'm not reaching all of my backlist that much. And somebody commented and she was like, babes, I just saw the number. Because I posted basically the wheel. And there was a lot of sections on that wheel and you could tell. But in the corner, you could see the actual book count. And this girl on Instagram texted me and she was like, babes, that number is insane. And I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. But that's where we're at. We are in a very, very good place for my challenges. We've completed one. We are over halfway through the other two. I definitely feel that my focus is doing okay. I could probably do a bit better, but again, it's not really a challenge. It's something to be mindful of. I'm reading a lot of fantasy though for the Goodreads Reading Challenge, which has been an amazing choice and has opened me to so many books, which I think has helped. So moving on, we have some categories, we have some questions that we need to answer. First and foremost, the topic on everybody's lips and everybody's listening out for it. What is currently the best book that I have read so far this year in 2025? And that's a very easy answer. It didn't take me that long to think. Last year, I was really umming and ahhing between two books. This year, so far, easy choice. It is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, a Lovecraftian Sherlock Holmes science fantasy murder mystery, kind of Attack on Titan vibes. It is so good. An innovative magic system, a well thought out and planned and researched world, a world that is very much unlike anything I've seen in fantasy ever. The mystery was so good. I felt it was incredibly balanced out. I didn't feel that the mystery lacked in favour of the fantasy elements or vice versa. So good, such great characters. I bought the sequel right after I finished it. It was an overall success with the sci-fi fantasy book group. It is so good. Robert Jackson Bennett, it kind of has already entered my auto-buy author list based on that one book alone. And I think it will probably be my favourite book for the year. I do think that strongly just because on paper, it is everything that I like in books. Fantasy world, specifically unique fantasy, witty characters with actually funny dialogue that doesn't make me cringe, an incredibly well thought out, structured mystery, but with plot twists that still will shock me. Overarching narrative that's already being foreshadowed in book one, even though I don't know what it's foreshadowing, but I know it's there. 10 out of 10. My best sequel, now this was hard to pick between these two, but ultimately I went for Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon Maguire. And the reason I chose this is my other choice, which I'll mention in another category. I kind of expected to really enjoy it. I was expecting it was the end of a trilogy, characters that I've been on an entire journey with. I was expecting to love it. Down Amongst the Sticks and Bones, which is the second book in the Wayward Children series follows twins who end up in a magical world, kind of inspired by Universal Horror. They're bringing out like a new world in Universal Studios alongside like How to Train Your Dragon, and it was like Universal Horror, and you had like Frankenstein, Dracula, a werewolf, Jekyll and Hyde, that kind of vibe, that kind of world. And in book 1 you meet these characters after they've left the world and how they're adjusting to no longer being in that world, and book 2 is a prequel where it explains how these twins ended up in the world and how they lived and survived in that world. And I went into it thinking, oh God, I really hope this is good, because I really enjoyed the first one. But this is very, very different. This is a very different format, a very different way of telling a story, because it's a prequel set in a fantasy world, not set in an urban fantasy world. Am I going to like the characters? Am I going to enjoy this story as much as I enjoyed the first one? I don't really know. But then I went into it and then I read it. And again, I have a whole vlog where I weeded my garden for like 4.5 hours. And I listened to that audiobook literally non-stop. And it was incredible. I definitely liked it more than the first book. I'm excited to see where she goes with the rest of the series. I just thought it was absolutely amazing. Great characterization, great discussion on kind of being true to who you are and into yourself, no matter what your parents say or however the world views you as, which I thought was amazing, especially in today's climate. So good. Absolutely loved it. Will it be a best sequel of the year? Maybe. I don't really know. But as of now, definitely the best sequel so far this year. Moving on to a new release that comes out later this year that I'm excited for. The only thing I can think of at the moment is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. But this makes me nervous. And I already mentioned this in another vlog, but it makes me nervous, my Nintendo Switch vlog. It makes me nervous because my track record with R.F. Kuang is very mixed. I loved the Poppy War and the Dragon Republic, but I didn't really enjoy The Burning God. I loved Yellowface. I really, really enjoyed Yellowface, but I didn't really enjoy Babel that much. I struggled with the language element. It was a little bit far out of my reach. There are elements where I just look at books and I go, maybe I am not as smart as this book is. I desperately wanted to love it, but I got halfway through. I'd read like 250 or so pages and I just was really struggling with the pacing. I definitely think I would have preferred the second half, because all of my friends were like, just keep going. The second half is it's your focus. You're going to love it. But I couldn't do it. I tried to audiobook it. It just didn't work for me, which is such a shame. Don't know what it was about the writing style of the book. I just couldn't get into it. And Catabasis does feel like it is leaning more into the Babel style. So I am worried, even though I'm very excited to read it, I am worried that I'm going to get into it and have the same thing. But I read the first paragraph and I really liked it. So hopefully I will love it. Please, because I need a Babel redemption, because all of my bookseller friends were judging me. Then biggest disappointment this year, and I could not pick one. And I'm not doing that from the point of view of like, guys, everything I read is just so good. I couldn't pick one. No, actually, this first year, it's kind of picking up in the last like 2 months. No, 3 months. The first 3 months, the first quarter of this year was just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Genuinely. I was reading books from authors that I trusted that were just average or letting me down. I love Tessa Bailey, she is my girl, but Dream Girl Drama was Dream Girl Disappointments. Josiah Bancroft's An Imperial Retinue I didn't enjoy. And I love P. Jody Clark, but the Dead Cattail Assassins was just fine. And that's kind of how I summarized in another video that I did, which was my quarterly reading check-in. I kind of just felt that that year up to that point was just meh. I didn't feel like anything I was reading was grabbing me. All of my go-to trustworthy authors were releasing stuff that I thought was kind of meh or average, which is very shocking to who I am as a person, because I'm like, sorry, you guys are my entire personality. My God. But it has picked up. So the last 2.5 months have been good and have been a lot better. But I don't really have the biggest disappointment, because I've had a lot of books that have just been disappointing that I can't pick one. I wish it was coming from a place of, I've just read so many great books that there's no disappointment. Unfortunately, I've read too many average to disappointing books to pick one. Biggest surprise, I have two. And I have good surprise and bad surprise. Biggest surprise on a great front is Isabella Nag and the Pot of Basil by Oliver Darkshire. I believe I mentioned this in my wrap up, but I think it's the closest that anybody has gotten to having a style similar to Terry Pratchett. I don't think, and I've said it before, no one will be able to emulate the quality and the uniqueness that is Terry Pratchett's writing and his writing style. Incredible. Great. He is popular and he is transcendent for a reason, and that is 100% partly down to his writing style. You are someone who wants to read a book, but you've read all the Terry Pratchett books, but you love them so much and you want something that is a similar vibe, do check out Isabella Nag and the Pot of Basil. It is currently out now. I read it last month. I fucking loved it. It was so good. The characters were amazing. It was genuinely hilarious because I have a thing about people that think they're funny and then you read it and they're not. This was genuinely funny. It was so absurd in the best way possible. Incredibly creative and imaginative. I love the layout of the book. Incredible. So good. Definitely worth your time if you are a fan of kind of absurdist fantasy. In regards to biggest surprise in a bad way, it was Free Run Volume 7. I know. I can't. Free Run Volume 7 has not been adapted into an anime yet. It is the first volume to be adapted for season 2 of the anime. I just finished watching season 1. Loved it. Made me appreciate the series on a whole other level than I thought I could. So I was like, I need to get back into it. I need to read volume 7. So I read it. And volume 6 ends in a very stupendous and massive way. It has you going, oh shit, right? So volume 7 necessarily couldn't meet that, because when you have a peak of that intense in an arc, you need to come down and have a breather volume, and that's what it was. But it was a 3.5 stars. And that surprised me because Free Run is always a 4, 9 times out of 10 a 5. It's never been lower than a 4 stars. So to have a 3.5 shook me to my core a little bit. I'm hoping when I get around to volume 8 that we will sort of shit out. A book that made me cry. I actually have a TikTok video and a YouTube short, so I will link the short. A book that made me cry is Faithbreaker by Hannah Kaner. It was the book that I was considering putting my favourite sequel so far this year. Faithbreaker by Hannah Kaner is the final book in the Fallen Gods trilogy. I have read, it's the first series that I read in its entirety through proof copies, through connections to the publishers. The publishers got to the point where they were just sent me the final book without me even asking or requesting it because they knew my love for it. I've promoted it on social media, but I also was in some amazing podcast episodes with my friends at the Hidden Bookcase. Go into my link tree if you want to listen to those episodes. They are so much fun. So it's a book that has been with me for a really, really long time, the entire series, and it has allowed me, it's opened so many doors for me. It's allowed me to have connections with publishers, do some amazing podcast episodes, incredible. So it was a very monumental book to be finishing, not only for the characters and for the story, but for me as a person and kind of reflecting on what I've done thanks to this book. So I was sobbing. I was crying, and you should check out that short because many a tear was falling. So good. So good. And there should be an episode out on that book very soon with the Hidden Bookcase, which would be good. But maybe if you're watching this, it's already out. It'll be in my link tree. And finally, a book that made me happy. It was hard to pick one that wasn't one that I already mentioned, but I did decide to go for Vinland Saga. I read volume 1 of the omnibus, so that has volumes 1 and 2. The reason I chose this, because it kind of seems probably a little bit of a rogue choice, is because I love reading something, instantly clicking with it, and knowing, oh my god, thank god there's more out there. I can just get lost in these books and it's going to be incredible. And also when you read something and you just know this is it. This is going to be a great series. This series is going to be amazing. And Vinland Saga was that for me. And that's it. That's the mid-year book freakout tag. I'm very excited to compare this to the end of the year to see how well I did. What? You know what I'm trying to say. I'm actually not worried about the challenges at all. I'm more intrigued to see if any of that changes at the end of the year. Is The Tainted Cup still my favourite book of the year? Is Down Among the Sticks and Bones my favourite sequel of the year? I need to know. I'm excited for that. I'm excited if there's I'm not excited if there's going to be any more disappointing books, but I'm intrigued to see what the reading year has to hold, to come forth. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate any views. So yeah, thanks. Please like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And I will see you soon. There's a bit of a weird, what am I trying to say? There's a bit of a weird schedule coming up just because of certain things going on in my life. So the vlogs are going to be a bit sporadic. Just pre-warning you. Thanks.